All right, what is up, STB Locker Room? It's Coach Todd coming to you live here. It is Monday night live stream training. I'm Coach Todd here in Nebraska, middle of nowhere. Make sure you say hi. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit subscribe below so you catch all these trainings after we post them. If you're watching this live on Facebook, go like our YouTube channel so you catch all the stuff that we post there as well. Tonight, super excited to talk about willpower. And basically what Coach Denny and I are going to share is going to blow your mind, literally. But yeah, we're excited to bring that. Coach Denny is getting set up in the background. So we're going to bring him in here in a second. But what's up, Kevin? I know Kevin just crushed a workout like myself. I literally just finished it before I got on this training. Level 4 is the real deal. And I think this is week 4. So we've got some increases coming next week, buddy. So if this is the first time you guys live mid-workout, all right, what's up? If this is the first time you guys watching us, my name's Coach Todd again. I'm an online fitness and nutrition coach in the STB Locker Room. Is all about helping guys shred the dad bod so they can look, feel, and perform at their best. So if you want to shred that dad bod once and for all, make sure to follow, participate, right? There's no results without activity. So jump in, watch these, take what you can, put it into use. I'm going to bring Coach Denny in. You ready, Coach? There he is. All right. There's Coach Denny. Coach Denny is out in Ohio. And happy to have you on, Coach. Willpower, what an awesome topic. I guess all this month we've kind of been talking about mindset and different things. And I'm a huge believer in the mindset thing. A lot of people, like, for a lot of years, my 20s and 30s, I'm like, I'm just going to barrel through it on my own, right? Like, I'm going to figure this out one way or another. But yeah, let's talk about this, all right? Because one of the things people ask me most about is willpower, like, because they don't think they have enough of it, right? Especially because they're not hitting their goals or they keep having to start over, right? But here's what's really wild about willpower. It really turns out that, those people that actually tell me they don't think they have enough willpower actually might not have enough of it, right? Like, because, and really only because they think they don't have enough of it, right? Crazy, right? So why do I say this? Well, let's go back to the 1990s. I know that's a ways back for some of you guys. That's like my high school years. These scientists, and I've actually read several books over the last 20 years on mindset and willpower and different things. And I remember reading this specifically that, we all have limited willpower. Like, we each have, and each one of us have different amounts, right? Based on your daily stressors, your daily lives, that kind of stuff. So you were born in 93. Awesome. That was the year I graduated. So I'm 18 years older than you, buddy. So you're still over 30. So you're still in the group, right? But I remember specifically reading a book on this that, hey, eat the big frog early, right? I don't know if you guys have all heard that story. Denny, have you heard that story? Eat your big frogs early because you run out of willpower at the end of the day, right? So this was ego depletion is what they came up with the slang, right, in the 90s. And under that theory, willpower is considered a limited resource, right? So if you're tired, stressed, or, you've made a ton of decisions during the day, you're more likely to run out of willpower. And that sets you up for skipping your planned workouts, right? Deciding to go through a drive-through instead of eat that healthy meal that's prepped at home, right? Who's guilty of that? I know I am. I have the meal sitting at home and I'm still sitting in a drive-through for some reason. or anything else, you think you use your willpower for, right? But let's flash forward to today. I mean, it's 2023, right? We've come a long way since the 90s, believe it or not, especially in this realm. So, new research suggests that ego depletion may only apply if you believe in it. And here comes my dog. So, um, so only if you believe in it, right? So that means if you believe you'll run out of willpower, you probably are going to run out of willpower. You got any instances of this, Coach?
Oh man, ice cream. I mean, that was,
Right? Your willpower with that, like, that if it's there, you're
yeah,
probably going to eat it, right?
yeah. It's best not to walk by the fridge at 9:30 at night looking
Right.
for something to eat with the freezer door right there and 2 half gallons sitting up top.
Right.
Not a good
So,
idea.
in order to combat that, right? Um,
Better
we
planning,
we got it. Well, number one, don't buy it, right? Like,
right?
once again, a lot of guys will tell me, "Well, I don't control what my wife buys at the grocery store," right? I've been at fault for that excuse as well. But this is pretty wild, right? Only if you believe in this ego depletion, right, that you're going to run out of willpower. So this is actually some really good news for everybody, all right? Because it means you can take back control over your actions and stop relying on willpower. There's really no such thing, right? Unless you believe in it, right? So it's kind of like Santa Claus, in my opinion, right? Like, I remember very specifically believing in Santa Claus was a real thing for a long time. Um, so um, same thing with willpower. I believe that willpower depletion was a real thing, right? Until you start looking at how, how 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 do I get the real results that last a really long time and not have to depend on my willpower, right? We start really by going into problem solving mode, right? So, some questions you can ask, why do you feel like your willpower is slipping, right? So, in other words, what would be some questions we could ask, Coach? Like, is it a planning problem, expectations?
I mean, you just wore out from the day. Are you tired? Was your job stressful? Did somebody cut you off and upset you? You
Yeah.
know,
So, if you go into problem solving mode instead of just screw it, I'm going to eat the whole half gallon of ice cream, right? Like, why am I having this shit? Why am I having is it a schedule? Is it a planning? Is it expectations too high too soon, especially with fitness and nutrition? I think a lot of guys jump in a program and they expect, hey, in 30 days, I need to lose 30 pounds. And yes, you can do that, but it's never sustainable
right?
ever. Trust me, as a guy that's done it probably 100 different times in my life. Um, you know, and then why won't the results stick around, right? Um, so really, to kind of give you a real life, thing for me is like every Thursday at lunch, I'm like to that point in the week where it's like I find myself headed towards the fast food row, right? Like, I can easily take a left out of my work and go home and not go by a single fast food restaurant, or I can take a right and go down Burger Row. Okay, McDonald's, Burger King, Runza, Wendy's, Taco John's. It's all there on the same street. I know what street to avoid because I am like fast food is my one of my things, right? And so and I kept trying to figure out why Thursdays, right? But then it kind of came to me like I usually make 3 days worth of meals ahead of time. Like, I know I have this at home. I know I have this, and typically Thursdays I don't have anything. So that means I got to go home and cook something, which honestly probably is less time than I spend in a drive through these days. Let's be honest, right? These folks can't find help, at least not in Nebraska. I don't know about Ohio or where you guys are at. If you go through fast food restaurants, like, you need to spend 15 minutes in the drive through, right? Even if you go in, it's gonna take 15 minutes. By the time you park, go in, order, get your order, come back out. And literally, how long does it take to come home? Uh, I'm typically an egg person over lunch anyway, so I mean, crack a couple eggs, boom, boom. Less time actually spent doing that, right? So I had to kind of rethink things and like, why am I having this issue, and why is my willpower seemingly on Thursdays so much worse than Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday? Um, and I can tell you this started out as a, hey, I'm starting on Monday, and by Tuesday my willpower was gone, and then it was then I could make it through Wednesday, and then it was Thursday, right? And the more I practice this, the more develop I get with my mindset, the days go further, right? Like, okay, hey, I have this goal. Will this food get me closer to my goal or further away from my goal, right? So, little solution: make sure every Wednesday I make Thursday, Friday, and Saturday meals, so that I don't even have that temptation, right? And honestly, like, nothing's more motivating than feeling like you're making progress, right? That time you step on the scale and you're down weight, and you look in the mirror and you're like, hey, man, I'm starting to see an actual outline of the guy I used to be, right? And that's the way to keep moving forward, and then keep solving those problems as they arrive. We kind of call them roadblocks, right? Every one of us on a fitness journey comes up against roadblocks, or obstacles, and it's how we navigate those obstacles that determine our long-term success, right? So, one thing we like to really focus on with our clients is owning their own personal power when it comes to reaching their goal, right? So we really want you to take ownership of that. And I think that's something a lot of coaches don't do. They just, here, do this, right? We take a lot of pride in giving ownership to, or your own personal power to reaching your goals, right? We're not going to set the goals for you. We're going to help you figure out what's super important to you, why it's super important to you, why now, why right now. Like, Kevin's on here. Kevin came to us 200 plus days ago, and his why was like, man, I can't look into the mirror anymore and see this guy that I don't even recognize, right? And it's pretty cool after losing 80 pounds that he's starting to see the guy he was when he was in the military. And it's pretty cool to be a part of that process. And we just guide him, right? We guide. We're not there to we want him to take ownership of his program and his own results. We give him guidance on that, and he's kicking butt. So,
You know
you know
what's even cooler with that? Not even just his body, it's the fact that he was able to, and I might fuddle this up, but I believe his niece was on one of them big bikes or big marathon runs or whatnot. And so they got to go in and out and do all these different things. So Kevin was able to get on his bike and be the guy, to hand her the drink and the towel and all that stuff, and then shoot off to the next leg before she got to that.
that's
So
all.
he was able to do that, not because, hey, I look better, I feel better, but he was able to do that because he is in better shape and he was able to sustain. So it's moments like that just, wow, right? Because it was unattainable before.
Yeah, it wouldn't have happened before,
No.
and that's a cool thing. So, if you guys want to dive into what it's like to work with us, we're coming out. It's coming shortly. Is our Resurgence program, right? Yeah, would have never happened if I didn't lose the weight. Exactly. So, and man, he's done the work. He puts it in, day out, relentlessly chasing his goals. But we're getting ready to roll out the Resurgence Playbook program. We're going to come out with a 21-day training camp. Listen, I'm a big football guy, right? And not everybody in here probably follows football the way I do, but the first thing that happens when you get drafted, or we just had the NFL draft not too long ago. The first thing that happens, you get drafted or you get signed, outside of the draft, is that you have to show up to training camp, right? and you have to put in the work and show the team that you're willing to commit to a certain level of professionalism, right, in that arena. And so coach and I have really dug deep on like how can we get guys to understand what it's like to work with us at a minimum cost, right? Minimal. This is going to be $21 for 21 days, ridiculously, and it's $1 a day. But we're putting this program together. It's going to be training, nutrition, supplementation, mindset, all bundled into 21 days of you show up, prove that you're worth it to go into the next phase, which, you know, you got to show up, you got to show out, right? It's 21 days of just locking down, getting refocused, building a little foundation uh, to build upon, right? We don't expect 30 pounds in 21 days or anything crazy like that. In fact, you know, some guys may only lose 5 pounds in 21 days. That's cool. That's progress, right? We want to instill in you the values and the discipline in order to do this long term in as little as 21 days, right? So, super stoked about this. I don't know if Coach wants to uh,
Yeah, I'll take the
jump in there.
5 pound guy over the 30 pound guy in 21 days anytime, because the 5 pound guy, he was steadfast, steady as she goes. That 30 pound guy, man, I don't know. He might be able to hold some of it off. He might rubber band back to 40. We just don't know, because it's not sustainable. Appreciate the effort, but we need more. It's not a burst. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon.
Yeah,
It's a marathon.
ever since I decided to leave the fast food industry 10 years ago, like I've been on this journey for 10 years, like, and I keep crushing it, right? So we're trying to create some habits inside of that 21 days. Somebody posted there, in 21 days it becomes a habit, right? It becomes
Start to form one.
it becomes the framework for a habit,
Yep.
right? Because listen, I was a tobacco user for 18 years. Okay. You know how many times I quit in that 18 years for more than 21 days? A lot. A lot of times I quit for more than 21 days and I still went back, right? It wasn't until I was able to go the distance, right? 90 days. Then set that next goal for 180 days and then that next goal for 270 days, right? And that's the thing, like creating weekly goals, keeping score is something we do inside of this. We're going to keep score, right? Like you're going to get a scorecard every week inside of this, and you're going to either score well or not, right? You either did the work or you didn't do the work, and it will build that framework for a healthy, both physically, mentally, emotionally habit frame to build upon over the course of the next, because the 52 the resurgence program is going to be 52 weeks after training camp. It's a 1 year program because we believe it takes up to a year to really instill the habits. I mean, Kevin's over 200 days now. I don't know, 200 and something. I just hit 182 weeks in a row. I think 1,200 some days. Like it's instilled, like it's going to happen every single day. But that didn't happen in 21 days. It built the framework, and then we
Right.
build upon that framework, right? We're putting, if you want to go to the house example, right? We're putting the basement floor in 21 days, right? There's still a lot to build on top of that base. Denny's a builder. There's still a lot to build on top of that floor, right? You still got the basement walls. You still got the first floor. You still got the second floor, right? And then you got all the cool stuff, right? All the landscaping, the deck, right? The sidewalks, the driveway. Like, so to think of the 21 days as your basement floor, it's your foundation. And then we build upon that over the course of the next 52 weeks, right? And just really start hammering on the walls, the first floor, the second floor, and then put all the pretty things in, right? Because in the first, and even Kevin, I think will agree to this, the first 200 days, it, it isn't all the pretty things. It's the pretty boring, monotonous things that you got to do in order
Electric,
to,
HVAC,
yeah,
backfill.
right. So, um, going from the football analogy to the house building analogy, since we kind of have those things between us, Denny. That's what I'm excited about in this Resurgence program. And it's really for guys that just want to take back control of their fitness, right? Their family, their finances, and their faith, right? The four principles we love to talk about inside the STB locker room. And it starts with creating that foundation in a 21-day kind of pace, right? So excited to be rolling that out. That's coming.
Football,
We're gonna.
Yeah, go ahead, man. I was just thinking. I mean, in football terms, it's, hey, I see they got this. They got this team. I want to do tryouts. Then you get there for tryouts. You're like, all right, depending where you're at, you might be right on the team. You might be in a situation where, all right, we can get you on the practice squad. We'll see how you do. See if you can make the full roster. And so it just depends on where you're at and where you start. But all it takes is for somebody to look at the newspaper ad and be like, I want a shot at joining that team. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And then after that, it's on you.
Yeah, and then you're surrounded with other guys on the same mission, right?
Yeah.
Nothing better than I loved in my playing years than just being a part of the team. I happen to be a part of 2 national championship teams, something I get to cherish forever. Not a lot of guys can say that. And, pretty tight knit family in order to win a national championship at any level, much less, Division I football. And I think too, like every week you're playing a different opponent in football, right? So every week you have new challenges. You can't run the same plays against this, every single team and expect them to work exactly the same, right? So having a coach, having a team of guys that have been there before you and being surrounded by that's what this is all about. And if that resonates with you guys at all, reach out to us. Like, just say, hey, I want to know more, right? It's $21 for 21 days. You cannot beat the information you're going to get. Honestly, after 21 days, if you felt you didn't get the value from it, we'll 100% refund your money. Not a problem. And we'll give you all 21 days to figure that out. So we know what you're going to get from it's worth $2,100. Okay. So we're excited about that. So that's really all I have this week, Coach. You got some final words of wisdom?
I mean, honestly, we hit on willpower this week. I don't know if Coach mentioned it. Next week we're going to be hitting on stress. So gear up for that. If you've noticed, there's a theme. Everything goes along with the next one. So for those of you who have some issues with willpower, you want to hear some more, post below. We'll definitely touch on that for you, and get ready to begin to de-stress next week.
Well, and even with that, like, stress is part of the reason people think they run out of willpower, right? So we're trying to knock down these barriers a lot of guys have, because here's the deal: we had them, and I still struggle with them. I know Coach does too, right? In fact, I think he said earlier,
wives
right,
and girlfriends and bills and guys you work with that are, every one of us can raise our hand on so many of these. It's like, hey, does this? Yep, that stresses me out too. For me, I got a 7-year-old kid. It doesn't really stress me out. But the other day, my 12-year-old took a crap in the toilet that stunk the bathroom up for an hour and a half. And I was so disgusted and somewhat proud. It's like, holy crap, this kid. But anyways, no. We all have things, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So excited for this week. It is state track week here for us, and excited to watch my son compete at state track this weekend. So it's fun to see the fruit of his labors come out the way they have been. So hopefully he can finish the year off well. And so that's what we got. We will be back next Monday night for Monday Night Live Stream training on stress. Super pumped about that, guys. So yes, let's go, Trent. So
hey, I'm proud supporter of Trent, and I got to tell you, Todd, I don't know what Trent or I don't know if you know this, but locally, one of my friends, his kid won the SBC here in Ohio. And in Ohio, the SBC is our local league, right? Like you do with Norfolk and a couple.
Mhm.
And in that, his shot was 42 something. Tell the group what Trent was. I know you're humble.
Yeah. Trent threw
42.
60 foot 10 as a junior. Yeah. In high school. So 10 and a
And,
half. He just screamed at me.
and our
60
top
foot 10
guy
and a half.
was 42 around here.
Yeah. Pretty, very, very proud of the kid, obviously, but he's still got second place. So he's still hungry, which is
Good.
awesome. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun weekend. Throws a shot on Friday, throws the disc on Saturday. He's ranked number 2 in both in the state, and so we're hoping he comes out number 1 at the end. If not, he's gonna learn a great lesson, right? He does have another year, but he's not sitting on that. He's going for the gold, and it's great mindset. I know Denny texted him a lot of good stuff as well. So, and once again, having the support of the group of the guys that do cheer him on, it's pretty awesome to have that. Guys all over the country that know who Trent is, and are always cheering for him. So, and always saying prayers for him, that good luck, that kind of stuff. So, wouldn't have that without this group. Just wouldn't be there. You know what I mean? So, and yeah, very, very, he's got some God-given talent. He works his ass off, but he gets after it, and very proud dad. But at the same point, we know that we're on the tip of the iceberg, right? We're on the tip of the iceberg. He's throwing 60 foot 10, and we're on the tip of the iceberg. So we know there's more there, and we're going to keep going hard, training, nutrition, supplementation. I mean, he's our number one, athlete, Unleash the Beast Ups athlete. It's pretty cool to see. I mean, that's the only supplements he takes, period. And honestly, guys, it's greens, it's protein, it's pre-workout, and some creatine. That's what the kid takes, right? But he takes it every single day religiously, and he trains intensely with our programs and things like that. So it's pretty cool. I can't tell you, I probably had 10 kids reach out in the last 2 weeks, like, what program's Trent on? Here you go. You guys want your kid on a program, reach out. Like, I'm willing to help any kid that is willing to put in the work. Most of them I give the program to, and they print it out, and it sits there, right? Like, just like a lot of the guys I work with, I'll give them a program, like, follow the steps, right? Learn how to, hey, this doesn't work, we need to do something else. And it'll sit there, right? Results happen from doing the work, whether that's perfect or not. So just gotta get started. So that's what I got.
Imagine if we started a baseball season and coach shows up and he goes, "Here you go," and hands you a pamphlet. Just that's it.
Yeah.
Go learn how to hit. Go learn how to slide. Go learn how to feel the grounder. Go learn. It's all in there. Just read it, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where they falter. They're not working with somebody.
Yep. Cool. All right, guys. Have a great week. God bless. Much love. Peace out.
Peace out.